Alrighty, well, hello and welcome to Ask TRG. This past week, we sent out a message on Twitter asking for you to help us out with a video, and that is to basically ask anything, whatever you want. Could be about the podcast, could be about gaming, could be about, I don't know, supralapsarianism, whatever that is. Got a lot of great responses, and I think I'm going to be able to go through all of them in this video today, so let's go ahead and get into those questions that you asked. Before we do, just want to leave a quick reminder that I do stream over on Twitch at twitch.tv/Logan every Friday morning from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. Central Standard Time. Why not hang on by and ask me some questions while I'm live? I spend a lot of time in just chatting, and then we switch over to Destiny 2, so feel free to come on by, ask some questions, and hang out. We'd love to have you. First question, what is y'all's favorite way to interact with TRG folks? Is it through the Facebook group or Discord or here on Twitter, Twitch? I'm just curious what social media things give life and which ones are kind of draining. So I know for Adam, he much prefers Facebook. It is more his speed of things in regards to community engagement. It's not quite as crazy as what Discord is at times. Discord, especially if you're new to it, can be very overwhelming very quickly. But for me personally, I actually really prefer Twitter and Discord. I guess I just like chaotic things. I'm really proud of the community that we've built over on Twitter, and a lot of the folks in Discord are really awesome. And so I personally enjoy hanging out in those two areas and just interacting with people through that. And of course, Twitch is kind of a given for myself. But as far as which ones are draining, I'm gonna be honest, for me, that's Facebook. And nothing against any of you that are in the Facebook group. I have nothing but love for you. The main reason why I don't really like Facebook is just because of the interface. And for a long time, I think it was like for 2 or 3 years, it felt like the web browser and the app just didn't work properly. My notifications weren't working very well. They weren't showing me everything that they need to be showing. They weren't even alerting me when people messaged the podcast on Facebook. And so I just think that Facebook's overall interface is terrible and it doesn't work, and so I just don't really like it. It just wastes a lot of my time. Do you or Adam subscribe to any of the confessions of faith, Westminster, London Baptist, etc.? Now, I don't know about Adam. I think he would probably be where I'm at, where I don't really subscribe to one personally. And it's not because I hate confessions or anything like that. It's just I haven't taken the time to really read through them in depth and see kind of where I align on Westminster, London Baptist of Faith, and things of that nature. But all of them are in the back of my ESV Reformation Study Bible, so I guess I should just carve out some time and read through them. How do you choose content to cover on your show? What makes you say no when it comes to reviewing, discussing a topic or game? So when it comes to picking a topic for the show, me and Adam will sit down and kind of spitball, or not spitball, that's kind of gross. We'll brainstorm a couple of ideas, and then really from there, we just start getting different ideas for topics to cover. And typically the games that we try to cover on the show are ones that while we're playing, we're like, oh, this has made us think, or this made us consider a couple things, or some of these characters are having some really interesting conversations, and I think we could talk about that on the show. And it also helps if we're just having a really fun time playing the game. Like when we were playing God of War, we knew we were going to do an episode on the reboot, but then when we were playing it, we were like, we definitely need to do an episode on it because this game is really fun. But then we also pay attention to what are people searching for online? What are people looking up? What kind of questions are people asking? And then we try to think, okay, is there a way that we can do an episode on that kind of question? And so our multiple episodes on Doom, for example, came from both the fact that the new game was coming out last year, and also because people were asking, can Christians play Doom? So we were like, let's talk about it. But we'll also look at kind of the current news things and like, okay, is there anything that we can actually cover? Is there some stuff that we can speak into? And then from there, we try to plan our episodes out by 2 to 3 months. Really, if you listen to our patch notes, if you're a $5 and up patron, you already know that we plan things out pretty far ahead. So that kind of brings into an issue when it comes to trying to talk about something that's relevant at the time, because we schedule our episodes out and we're like, okay, well, by the time we get around to recording this, it's not going to be relevant and people are going to forget about it. So there's no point in even doing an episode on that. And so we just look at things like that. We look at, can we actually get a full episode out of this? Is it going to be relevant a month from now? Those kind of things. And then we just move from there. Plus, it also helps when people write in and like, hey, can you talk about this game? game, it's like, well, think about it. I'm still trying to figure out how we're going to do a Metal Gear Solid episode. I have no idea how we would cover everything that we would need to cover in that game. If you had to choose one gaming console platform to play for the rest of your life, which would it be and why? The Nintendo GameCube, hands down. You have Metroid Prime 1 and 2, you have the original Animal Crossing, you have a notification, you have Custom Robo, you have the Lord of the Rings trilogy set on there, and then the Battle for Middle-earth, I think, is another one. I know the GameCube didn't really sell very well, but it was one of my favorite Nintendo consoles, and it just had a lot of games on there that I really enjoyed playing, and I just spent a lot of time playing that system. Bonus question, who is your favorite game developer or director? Director? Words are hard. I think as far as director goes, I really like Hideo Kojima. Like, the Metal Gear Solid series blew my mind when I played through those games a few years ago. Metal Gear Solid 3, I still hail as a masterpiece. So I actually really like Housemarque. They made a lot of really cool games that I played a lot of on the PlayStation 4, like Resogun and Matterfall. Spent a lot of time playing those games, and I'm super excited to see what Returnal is like, which is their new game that's coming out, I think, this year or sometime soon. So they're one of my favorite studios. I think they make great games. Once you've gotten a decent camera, mic, and lighting setup, what's the next best thing to invest in for your streams/videos? Now, I'm not going to pretend I'm some kind of Harris Heller or some kind of big streaming guru, but I do have some ideas that do come from his videos that I think honestly are what a lot of smaller streamers and up-and-coming streamers should focus on. Now, I know it's pretty easy to get tied up with the tech and the toys of your streaming, like getting a stream deck or a new chair or something like that, but let's be honest, neither of those actually bring value to your content. I think once you have some of those things set up, what you need to start focusing on is improving your content and getting better at things like editing videos or streaming or figuring out, how to be presentable online, those kind of things. Something I actually did with one of my first Twitch payouts was buy a year subscription of Skillshare, which you can go there and learn a variety of topics and skills, whether it's branding on social media or editing videos or using things like Photoshop. And in my opinion, I think you've seen here on the channel that content has continuously gotten better with each video, whether it's something new with the editing or it's the thumbnail or something regarding search engine optimization and things like that. I think you would be better served working on those things rather than just trying to get something like a stream deck or a new chair, because the people that are watching your content aren't going to benefit from your comfy new chair or a stream deck. You are going to benefit from that. It's going to make your life a little bit easier, but it doesn't really help your content. So that's where I would divert my attention and money. What is the best way for me to get a podcast started? What software, etc.? I've actually planned on doing a video that kind of goes through like the first 5 things you need to do to start a podcast, or like a podcast starter kit video. And so I'm not going to get into everything here, but I will cover a few of the basics. The first thing you need to do is find something that you are passionate about and that you want to talk about and that you have a pretty good amount of knowledge about. I think I just said about a bunch of times right there. But then once you get your topic down, so to speak, what you need to do is look at other podcasts and what they're doing and then ask yourself, how do I make myself stand out? Because when it comes to gaming podcasts, there are a ton of them out there. And so when we started the Reformed Gamers, I asked myself, why would anyone listen to TRG? And that got me to think, okay, well, how can I stand out? How can I make TRG stand out from the other podcasts that are out there? I'm like, well, I'm also a Christian, and I believe everything has a worldview, including games. And if we're to take our thoughts captive for Christ, and how do we glorify God with gaming with that in mind? And thus, TRG was born. So you have to find your topic that you are passionate about, and then you have to figure out how you're going to make yourself stand out. And then, of course, you need some equipment. Now, I don't think you need to go out and spend a bunch of money on a microphone and things like that right at the start. We actually got by for the first year or two of TRG with just the blue snowball microphones, and that served its purpose quite well. And so once you got your topic and you've got an idea of how you're going to stand out and you've got your equipment, what you need to do next is have a game plan. Come up with some show notes. They don't have to be super detailed like what we do, but you need to have some kind of plan and flow of like, how are you going to do things? Now, when I say that, I don't mean have a perfect plan. You're going to spend the next several episodes trying to find a rhythm and things like that. So really just come up with some kind of flow of kind of what you're going to talk about, when you're going to talk about it, and come up with that. And then just adjust on the fly. And last, hit the record button. What I've noticed from people that have messaged me asking for podcast advice and things like that is I give them the advice, but they never act on it. So once you have all that stuff lined up, hit the record button, put the episode out, and just deal with the fact that your first couple episodes are probably not going to be your best, and they're not supposed to be. But you're already getting a leg up on everybody else who's too afraid to start because you recorded and you put your content out there, and you're already out there gaining a presence. So there you have it, dear listeners. Thank you for submitting your questions to us on Twitter. Greatly appreciate you helping us out with this video, and hopefully it helped some of you out as well, even if you didn't get a chance to ask a question. But I plan on doing more of these videos, so if you didn't get a chance to submit a question this time, now if you're a patron, you get these once a month. We do a monthly Q&A over on Patreon, and you're more than welcome to join us over there and submit questions on Patreon as well. But dear listeners, thank you for watching this video. If you like this video, consider liking the video and subscribing to the channel and hitting the bell icon so you are always notified of when we upload a new video. And if there's something I covered that you think might help someone else, feel free to share this video with your friends, family, or even frenemies. But until then, be a deer, keep it locked here, and we'll see you in the next video.